Hello and welcome to the Health Chat. I'm your host, Vicky, and today I'm joined by my co-host, Rick Hay, where we're going to talk about nootropics. Hi, Rick.
Hey, I've been looking forward to this one, and I've been looking forward to this one because of my ongoing brain fog. So really, really need it.
I agree. That's how I feel, especially this time of year. I thought I'd talk a bit about what nootropics are. And, it's a buzzword that's been thrown around a lot lately, but, I reckon 10 years ago, no one would have heard about the word nootropics. But they are compounds or supplements or drugs that are designed to improve cognitive performance and function. And they're used by people all over the world to help improve intelligence, creativity, and motivation. And in addition to supercharging productivity, nootropics can make you smarter and less stressed. And the word nootropic comes from two Greek words. One is nous, meaning mind, and tropos, meaning turning or changing. And it's this completely new way of turning and changing your mind, which brings the word nootropic. So I thought we'd start with you, Rick. What have you got to talk about?
Well, you had me at the word intelligence and smartness. So I'm sold on nootropics. And the key to them is that they're going to give you that rev up that we all may require in a busy lifestyle, etc. I'm going to start off with mushrooms because we all know about their immune boosting properties, their adaptogenic properties, where they'll help to create equilibrium in the body. But if I start off with a couple that I really like, I think that's a very good starting point. So Tremula is one that I'm a big fan of because not only will it give you the neurodegenerative protective benefits from the polysaccharides, it also has anti-aging collagen support properties. So you can see why I'm a fan. You're going to get a brain boost and a skin health boost all at once. Now, with all the nootropics, what we're looking for is improved cognition, improved stamina, and tremolo is one that you want to start with. And then one of my old favorites that's been around for a long time is reishi. Now, reishi is popular in the sports arena because it delivers that energy boosting property. It also, the key word around it, and I've used it before, is equilibrium, helping you to get that balance back. Now, the beta glucans, the terpenes, polysaccharides, all work together to increase focus, increase concentration, and give you that feeling of calmness whilst also giving you that energy boost that you may need for sports performance. And if it's not sport performance, it might be performance at work that we all need. I love that you've got those two mushrooms. There are many more I could have chosen, but they're my two go-to for the moment. And if you look everywhere around, you'll see that they're both trending and continue to trend. And then I thought I'd go for a blend from Herbs of Gold, which is a mushroom 5 complex that has shiitake, reishi, cordyceps, tremella, and turkey tail. So all of those giving you the nootropic benefits, but all in one, with that immune system support that people need as we're in winter and when we've been through all the viral activity that we've had over the last couple of years. Now, the two mushrooms that I spoke about earlier are from Tilixa, and that was the reishi and the tremella. So they're my starting ones. They're my go-tos, and I think you might find that you get a bit of cognitive increase if you include one or the one with the 5 different mushrooms in it.
I love that you started with mushrooms because I've got a mushroom too. And I don't know about you, but my feed on socials is just jam packed with medicinal mushrooms. It's like they've exploded, like from the
Mm.
earth and onto social media. It's all I see is mushrooms. So I'm going to talk about lion's mane. There's a lot of research around lion's mane, especially when it comes to brain health support, nerve growth factors, cognitive function enhancement, mood and mental well-being. And I thought I'd touch on these very briefly. So when it comes to brain health support, lion's mane contains particular compounds that are believed to be quite neuroprotective. they help support and maintain the health of brain cells, and they potentially protect them from damage and degeneration. And that comes back to what a nootropic is. It helps not just with cognitive performance and stamina and mood, but also helps with nourishing the brain and our nervous system. So it's that two-prong approach. It also is incredible when it comes to nerve growth factor. So lion's mane has been found to stimulate the production of NGFs in the brain. NGFs are proteins that play a crucial role in the growth and maintenance of regeneration of nerve cells, and taken alongside with quercetin and also including a lot of aerobic activity in your exercise regime does have a profound effect on the nerve growth factor production. It helps with mood and mental well-being by helping to regulate neurotransmitters like serotonin and dopamine, which are involved in mood regulation. And by influencing these neurotransmitters, lion's mane may help to promote a positive mood and general mental health and well-being.
Yeah, I love that all the mushrooms have such a positive effect on the neurotransmitters. And I should have mentioned when I was talking about reishi as well, they often will give you support and research is backing this up to promote a feeling of calmness as well. So I love that they give that, with that adaptogenic properties, they give you that boost, but they also give you that sort of background steadiness that you need, because we don't want a jittery, we look at the traditional, when you look at the traditional sort of model of nootropics, it was often just straight caffeine. Now, whilst it gave you mental alertness or some of the more pharmaceutical drugs, there's also a downside to that where you can suffer from burnout and adrenal fatigue and all that sort of thing. So your mushrooms that we've both been talking about will give you those boosts, whilst protecting, the brain as well, and giving you that bit of calmness. They really are a great all-rounder, aren't they? In that
really,
space.
and lion's mane does help with that gut-brain axis modulation. There's a lot of evidence to show that the gut microbiota and the brain are interconnected, and we've known this for a long time, but it's now becoming mainstream. And so lion's mane has been found to influence the gut microbiota composition positively. And there was an interesting research. This is not from lion's mane, but this is something else. It was cordyceps when we're talking mushrooms. Cordyceps, I think it was that mushroom that was used on the athletes at the Olympics, the Chinese athletes at the Olympics, that helped catapult them into this unbelievable stamina that they had when they were performing. And so there's a lot to be said about this medicinal mushroom space. And it's one that I don't see will slow down anytime soon. I really think we're going to see more medicinal mushrooms and how they play out in our life.
And speaking of that, so it's like when I was living in the UK, I was reading about the UK, the English football team, and they did very well. I think it was in the European Championships a few years ago, and they were taking yerba mate, Vic. So, isn't it interesting how these things are used in sport, and some of the top athletes in the world are using them, and advocates of our, of natural medicine. Often we think there's performance enhancing stuff going on in the background, but it may just well be something natural that they're, culturally tapping into, or their sports scientists are recommending that they take. But the English football team were talking about the yerba mate in terms of alertness and physical, physical prowess, etc. So they were big advocates of it, apparently, which is good.
Let's look at our inventory in terms of what we have that has lion's mane. There are a lot of Praki-only products that have it, but I'm going to talk about some retail products, and I've got Lakeiko here, Keto Adapt, and they have an incredible nootropic blend. So they've got lion's mane, Siberian ginseng, green coffee, L-theanine, and tonica, as well as tea elixir and raw medicine also do a lion's mane formula. So I have to say, it is something I've started to incorporate. And I know that my brother actually has started to take lion's mane, because he's like, I need to be quick on the recall. I need to be quick. So he started to take lion's mane as well. So there really is a lot of research behind the medicinal mushrooms. But let's move on to something else. What else do you have, Rick?
Well, moving away from the mushrooms into the botanical sphere, or our herbal medicines that we have, I want to just go back a little bit, because we're often looking into the future with nootropics and not looking a little bit backwards, and we tend to forget that they've been around for a long time. So I want to talk quickly about ginkgo and rhodiola from Nature's Sunshine. Now, Both of these you're probably very familiar with. And in fact, if you look on the label of the rhodiola here, it's rhodiola relax. So it gives you a bit of an idea of what it's doing. Now with ginkgo, we've got something with the flavonoids, the terpenes that help to regulate the neurotransmitters, helping us with recall. They increase blood flow. We know that about ginkgo. We've known that for a long time, which helps us with alertness, concentration, and particularly with the elderly as we're aging. It's a go-to botanical. I think everyone is aware of that, probably who's listening. But it also, as you talked about the mushrooms, helps with dopamine production and therefore can help with memory. So I find ginkgo, although it's not new, it's certainly one that we don't want to forget, and it's there, and it's very useful as we look at the aging process and some of the more more serious illnesses of aging, I think, and the brain. Ginkgo is maybe a first port of call to consider. And the other one is rhodiola, and rhodiola has got a lot of press over the last couple of years with its research around stress, and in particular around chronic stress and its ability to moderate and modulate chronic stress. It also has some research behind it with short-term memory and increasing mental alertness, which is exactly what you want. Now, when you talk about the mental alertness and rhodiola, I also think about sport, because I did a lot of work in sports medicine, natural sports medicine, and this can help with ATP production, ATP reuse, etc. So there's a lot around ATP and rhodiola. So I wanted to give those two a mention, and I also wanted to move on to, again, a blend that's got more than one of the herbals or botanicals in it. And first of all, I've got Herbs of Gold again, and they've got the Bacopa, the Bacopa Mind. It's clinically trialed Bakerside. You've got ginkgo in there, rosemary, and rosemary, like some of our herbs and spices, is getting a lot of attention research-wise around memory. I'm really interested in herbs and spices and how they can help us with our cooking, and using them in our cooking to get some therapeutic benefits if we use them long term. But rosemary is a good one to watch for memory. And this is also good because it's got a couple of the B vitamins in there. And I want to go back to the vitamins, because if you look at the B vitamins, you look at B12, which is in here, and the quatropolic, what you're getting there is your traditional nootropics. Let's not forget that our vitamins can have nootropic and adaptogenic effects. We talk a lot about our minerals like magnesium having an adaptogenic effect. These can do that. So I'm really pleased to touch on B12, very important if you're vegan as well. So nice all-round formula there if you're looking for something that is going to give you more than one of the nootropics with a bit of adaptogenic support as well. Bacopa, again, really good in Ayurveda for memory. And my last one is the sleep and mind balance from Immuni. Now, this one, I was talking about the herbs before and why I love them. We touched on the resurgence of lavender for sleep and for calmness, and it's also got saffron in there. Now, saffron is an interesting one because more research coming into the anxiety and depression sphere on that. This is saffron side, saffron, but it's also got lemon balm, passion flower, and the KSM 66 ashwagandha in there as well. So a nice all-round one that's going to give you the benefits of the botanicals with the herbals of the lavender and saffron. Nice all-round. Now, the reason I've chosen this is that without sleep and without regeneration of the nervous system restoratives, the carminatives, you can take as many nootropics as you like, but you're going to burn out. And again, I don't want adrenal fatigue, and I don't want long-term, setting you up for chronic stress from just running on too much energy. So I like that this is going to support the body through sleep, and sleep is one of the best nootropics that you can get, or best nootropic supporting mechanisms, because good sleep, and you're going to be functioning better even without all the herbals or mushroom or supplement support.
So there's a lot to be said about those siestas then. We should incorporate them back into our lives.
Well, you know what? I'm a big fan of the nap. I love napping. I can be seen, no lie, Vicky, some days on the floor of my office here for 10 minutes. And if my directors are listening, this is not a long-term nap, but a 10-minute lay down when I'm really burnt out, close my eyes, It's so regenerative, and I think it's overlooked sometimes. Just to close your eyes, have that little mini siesta, little mini break. It's almost like a mini meditation, isn't it? Where you just shut the world out for a minute. Because I don't know about everyone else, but I just seem to be getting busier and busier over the years, and those siestas help. I liked it when I was living in Spain for a bit years and years ago. I loved the working hours there because you got a couple of hours off in the afternoon where you literally could go to bed. You had lunch and you had to lay down. It was pretty good.
Yeah, it was interesting to hear you talk about saffron because that's my next one. And I chose saffron maybe because I have a slight bias towards it. Growing up, my mum would cook with this particular spice. It was put in abundance in the casseroles, in our rice, in the desserts, and even in some teas. And I remember very distinctly that aroma of saffron. And it does have this mood elevating effect. Just the smell of it does something. And I don't even recall anyone ever being sad or depressed whenever they ate saffron. It's quite a mood elevating spice. So here's a simple explanation of how saffron can act as a nootropic. So first of all, as a mood enhancer, it has been found to have mood enhancing effects by regulating neurotransmitters like serotonin, which is that feel good hormone, and it makes you feel relaxed. So by increasing serotonin levels in the brain, saffron may contribute to a more positive mood and potentially reduce those symptoms of anxiety and depression. And there's a lot of research to support this. Now, we know that saffron is an antioxidant, really. It's a phytonutrient, and that does provide a level of neuroprotective qualities. And it helps the brain as well as the nerve system, and it protects them from damage and degeneration. And really, oxidative stress and inflammation, they're the ones that contribute to these neurodegenerative diseases like Alzheimer's and Parkinson's. But by reducing the oxidative stress and inflammation, saffron may be really key in this space because it helps to slow down cognitive decline. But you know what? Saffron's not the only key player in this space. We have vitamin E, we have a lot of flavonoids, we have resveratrol, we have curcumin. And while it's not an antioxidant, we have omega-3 fatty acids, particularly the DHA component, which does help with not just focus and memory, but with slowing down that aging process that we see in our brain and our nerve cells. Now, in the product space, what we see a lot is the practitioner brands. So like Give Back Health, Orthoplex, White Label, they use an extract of saffron. But in the retail space, it's that product that you were just talking about by Immuni, which was Sleep and Mind Balance. So that contains saffron. Or you could make yourself a very expensive saffron tea, and that probably won't keep you happy for very long because you won't have a bank account much longer. But if you can use it in your food, once or twice a week, there has been a lot of research to show that small sort of consumption does contribute positively to our brain health.
And I think it was really interesting what you said about inflammation, and we don't often link inflammation back when we just think immediately of nootropics, do we? You don't think, oh well, I'm going to go for the anti-inflammatories, but it makes perfect sense. And that combined with the gut-brain axis and the serotonin production in the gut that you touched on before with the mushrooms, you sort of take a step back and you realize, all the things we've talked about today, most of them have some anti-inflammatory properties as well. And a lot of them support gut health also. So it's all like a totality, isn't it? It all comes around. And we have those wonderful anti-inflammatories, and remembering as well, that stress is one of the primary causes of inflammation throughout the body. So if we can keep those under control, which is why the adaptogens and the nootropics work so well. I'm going to finish on a note of my key ones are always going to algal oil, aren't they? And I'm always talking about magnesium. I've got my go-tos. I talk about St. John's wort an awful lot in our podcast, but also
you've got amino acid. You've got an amino acid.
I know. I have to do it because if we were doing nootropics, and I don't talk about theanine, I can't hold my head up high. Look, we know it helps regulate the alpha waves. It just gives us that calmness as well as that bit of a boost. If you don't have that edge taken off, you can't achieve a lot. So it's one that I come back to time and time again. And if you've got some study to do, you've got something up, you're a little bit nervous, you're feeling a bit hyper, this will give you that alertness with that steadiness as well. again, some nice research around theanine in terms of the alpha waves and keeping you calm but
Mm.
not sedating you as such. So one of my faves, and this HealthWise one is a one that we have available in the retail setting.
So now I'll talk about teacrine and theacrine, which is not to be confused with theanine, because that's an amino acid. And what I'm talking about is a compound derived from tea or from coffee extract. And I mean, we shouldn't forget about coffee, really. Caffeine has always performed well in this space. It does help keep us alert, but teacrine is a stimulant that doesn't provide you with that crash. It doesn't give you that jitter. So it just keeps you constant, keeps you alert. It's known for improving mental clarity and focus, increases energy levels, but like I said, without the jitters. So teacrine works by increasing the levels of dopamine and adenosine in the brain, which can lead to improved mood and reduced feeling of fatigue. It's often used as a pre-workout supplement, like we were talking about before. And what they found is that the sports players that were taking teacrine or theacrine before a match had much better focus on the game. They were really agile and they felt good even after the game. They didn't have that crash. So think about this product that helps with energy and focus. It helps with reducing fatigue. It helps with mood elevation as well as cognitive enhancement. But when taken with caffeine, it has even better effects. So you don't have that crash, even if you do take teacrine with caffeine. What do I find this product in? Well, there's quite a lot in the Oborne space, but I'll talk about Lecaco again because I think it's the Lecaco Keto green apple with BHB. That one has got it. The other positive thing with teacrine or theacrine is that you don't build a tolerance to it. So it's not like you need to increase the dose every month or 2 months. It doesn't seem to have that effect either. And you don't have the heart palpitations even when taken in conjunction with caffeine. So if you just go online to the Oborne website and type in any of the products that we've spoken about, specifically the ingredients, so you can type the ingredient like lion's mane or search by ingredient in the top left-hand menu, search by ingredient, you'll find a plethora of products that contain the ingredients that we've spoken about today, both in retail and practitioner space. So thanks so much for joining me. Thank you, Rick. I love learning from you. You always have so much knowledge.
Well, I still need to take more of the nootropics, more of the adaptogens, but I think, as you said, using the Oborne website as a tool, so you can find out what products we have to offer, and then in general search engines as well. If you're a bit interested in nootropics, adaptogens, and all that, if you have not already delved in, I think you're in for a bit of a treat to find out how much and how far they've come in the last couple of years.
That's really good. Thank you so much, everyone. Speak to you soon.